Good Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome to Weather on the Go. Welcome back. I hope everybody's having a good start to their weekend out there. We do have a lot to talk about in this video, including the storm reports from yesterday, the severe weather here the next couple of days for the western Great Lakes and into the eastern Ohio Valley and New England, and then kind of looking ahead as we kind of move towards the holiday weekend here of the July 4th weekend and into that week of July 4th, and also looking here at another heat wave that is expected across the country and an active tropics here across the eastern Pacific, the Gulf, and even into the Atlantic basin as well as we head through the next several days. So welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday morning out there. I do thank everybody for tuning in to my live stream last night as I was covering all the severe weather across the Dakotas and into portions here of northern and northwestern Minnesota, all the way down through portions of the Central Plains. So thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate that, and everybody that did so, thank you very much. I'll be doing more of those live streams coming up here as well in the future, covering the severe weather events and even the hurricanes and landfalling tropical storms here as well if they get close enough to the U.S. mainland. So that will be something I will be doing. But looking at the storm reports from yesterday, we do have a lot of them here, including 5 tornado reports here, mostly across North Dakota, but a couple even across portions here of Minnesota. 67 wind reports, with 2 of those being significant here across this area. 44 hail reports, with 3 significant hail reports here. I know we did have some significant hen egg size hail reported into portions of the Dakotas, and with a total of 116 reports here, a very active Friday evening it did pan out to be across the Dakotas and into portions here of Minnesota, all the way down here into the Central Plains into Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming. We even had some storm reports down into portions here of Georgia and portions of northern Florida as well, with some wind reports down there. So a little bit of severe weather activity down there on your Friday evening as well. Looking ahead here, the Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 outlook has a marginal risk of severe weather extending from central Illinois all the way back here into far southeastern Iowa, getting back into the lower and middle Missouri Valley around the Ozarks region, and then down and through portions here of Kansas and into northwestern Oklahoma into the Texas Panhandle. This does include Amarillo, getting up through portions here of just south of Kansas City towards portions of Springfield, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, the Chicagoland area, and then getting back into portions here of the Quad Cities and Davenport, Iowa as well through the day today. This is mainly going to be for wind and hail. The tornado risk today is mainly here lower than 2%. So not expecting a tornado risk here with that marginal risk zone here today. So looking at what the radar could look like here early this morning, we have kind of a cluster of showers and storms across eastern Iowa, southwestern Wisconsin, and getting into northern Illinois. These will propagate eastward here across portions of southern Wisconsin, north central Illinois towards Lake Michigan here as we head through the late morning and into the early afternoon hours. And then there will be a little bit of a break, a little bit of lull in the activity across portions here of the middle and upper Mississippi Valley. And in that transition, we could have some breakout of some sunshine, some mixed clouds across this area, and some filtered sunshine. And that's what's going to allow some of this instability to start to filter into this area here from the south and west. We could have some stronger instability down through the Missouri Valley and the Ozarks, down through Kansas here, western Illinois here, down towards, Quincy, Illinois, Hannibal, getting down towards St. Louis as well, with instability on the order of about 3,000 to 4,000 joules per kilogram. Even some instability getting up into southern Wisconsin and toward the Chicagoland area here as well, up to around 2,000 joules per kilogram. During the late afternoon hours here ahead of a cold front. And once this cold front does push into this area here, prime for, a little bit more energy here, if we do have that sunshine breakout during the afternoon, we could have some scattered showers and storms developing here from Milwaukee all the way down through Rockford, Illinois, getting down toward the Quad Cities and Davenport there, and then down towards portions of Kansas, northern Missouri. And this will really start to take shape as we head toward the evening hours, as we have a little bit of a stronger low-level jet kind of pushing in here, and we'll have kind of a little bit of a line developing and kind of dropping south-southeastward across central Illinois, down through portions of the Ozarks towards St. Louis. Maybe some storms trying to get in towards the northwest corner there of Indianapolis, down toward the Fort Wayne, Indiana area here as well, and then kind of tailing its way back towards Kansas City, just south of Kansas City, and toward the Wichita area during the overnight hours. Just here in general through the morning hours and into for the most part during the morning hours into the early afternoon. Can expect with that first batch of some heavy rainfall, 1 to 3 inches of rainfall from northern Iowa back into eastern Iowa, north central Illinois, and southwestern Wisconsin here, and even some heavier rainfall across portions of eastern Nebraska, getting into northwestern Iowa as well. And this is mainly along the warm front here. So this is warm front driven type of shower and thunderstorm activity here. And this is what's going to here kind of be the primer for the severe weather potentially later in the day. But I don't think the severe weather here today is going to be too awful, but do still have to watch out for that threat as we head to later today from northern Illinois and central Illinois back towards the Oklahoma and Texas panhandle. Then as we head into your Sunday, we do have that cold front pushing on through the Ohio Valley, and just ahead of that, we got more instability starting to build. And we'll have another marginal risk of severe weather here as the Storm Prediction Center puts another marginal risk out for much of Ohio, getting down here into portions of West Virginia, northern Kentucky, a far southeastern sliver there of Indiana, and then getting up towards Pittsburgh here into Pennsylvania, Buffalo, New York, into those areas here as you head into your Sunday. This is mainly for wind. The hail threat is not going to be too much of a concern, nor will the tornado threat be for your Sunday. And I'll show you that here. As we head toward late afternoon, you can expect some scattering of some showers and storms here from portions of New England and the Buffalo area down through Pittsburgh, and then kind of scattering down towards Cincinnati here, Lexington, Kentucky, and towards Middle Tennessee. And that will be because of some instability starting to grow here, some weak to moderate instability growing during the afternoon hours on your Sunday, averaging around 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram here. So not off the chart instability. But you do have enough to provide the threat for a few stronger thunderstorms here. We do have a kind of a line starting to develop as we head toward the evening hours, toward dinner time, from Buffalo, New York, down through the Pittsburgh area into portions here along the Ohio River, getting down towards portions of the Middle Tennessee Valley. And this will really start to move to the east here and kind of weaken with the loss of instability as the sun goes down. So not every one of these storms will be strong to severe, but we could have a handful of storms along this area from southern and southwestern New York State down through Pennsylvania and towards the Ohio area and West Virginia, northern Kentucky, that could be strong to severe with some warnings on there. So you definitely have to watch that. And then, like I said, as you head towards the Monday morning, we'll lose the instability and we'll kind of walk that severe weather threat out here from west to east. But generally here, even on Sunday, we could see some decent rainfall totals of about a half an inch to upwards of about an inch of rainfall here from portions of New England, and especially down here along the Ohio River into portions here of West Virginia, southern Ohio, getting into portions there of eastern Kentucky, maybe some scattering of some heavier downpours down towards the middle Tennessee Valley here as well. This is going all the way from Sunday morning through Monday morning here, and then that cold front will start to shift off here to the Atlantic coast as we head towards your Tuesday, with some high pressure starting to build in here across the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and portions here of the Midwest during that time frame as well. And then kind of some rain shower activity across the Southeast here toward Florida, kind of an unsettled pattern continuing across those areas on into early next week as well. But generally looking at the next 72 hours here, going all the way through Monday, June 27th here into the evening hours, you can expect the heavier rainfall across the northeast, extending down towards the Tennessee Valley, some unsettled weather across the Florida Peninsula into the southeast Gulf Coast states. We got that monsoon continuing here with some heavier rainfall, especially into New Mexico and southern portions there of Colorado. We still got some here, the heavy rainfall that did fall with that convective system here into portions of Minnesota, dropping down into Iowa and Wisconsin here as well, and this is what you can expect the next 72 hours. And pretty quiet across the Pacific Northwest here. Just a lot of heat starting to build in across those areas here during this time frame during the weekend and into early next week. And looking at that as well, we got the heat building across the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast. We got that heat ahead of that cold front here on your Saturday today. And once that cold front does shift to the south and east, look at all the refreshing temperatures here from portions of the northern plains getting into the upper Midwest. We could have temperatures, for highs in the Arrowhead of Minnesota into northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, up toward Lake Superior here, up in, upper 60s to near 70s for highs. And what would still have lower 100s across portions of Texas over towards Louisiana, widespread 90s up and down the East Coast here from Maine all the way down to Florida on your Sunday. But even as this cold front continues off the coast here on your Sunday into Monday, you can expect some pretty nice temperatures even spreading into the northeast, portions of the Ohio Valley, and down even into portions of the Tennessee Valley as well, with some middle 80s to upper 70s farther to the north and east. We still have some heat starting to build back a little bit into the northern plains, but nothing too unbearable. Still some mid 80s there with some drier humidity, and we still got a little bit of a cool down as well into portions of Texas here, where they've been having relentless days of 100-degree heat. Down toward the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you could be still at 90 degrees, but a nice cool down from the lower 100s you've seen for a very long time here across these areas. Still some lower 100s across the southern Texas area and getting down along the Gulf Coast here at times, and then especially some 100s here from the Phoenix area all the way up and down through California here across portions of the West Coast here. Widespread heat will be a factor across the the early portion of next week across those areas. And I'll kind of show you that here. This is kind of the jet stream, how it will be oriented as we head towards that Tuesday morning time frame on June 28th. We got a flattening out of the ridge across portions here, the eastern 2/3 of the country. That's why we have all that cooler weather here behind that cold front. We got a little bit of a ridge here starting to build more into the portions of the west coast and the desert southwest with the ongoing drought. We'll have a lot more heat there here as drier ground does warm up a lot quicker than wetter ground. So we'll have some 100-degree heat down in some of those areas during that time frame as well. And looking at the next 6 to 10 days here, going from the very last day of this month here, Thursday, June 30th, going all the way through the holiday itself here on Monday, July 4th, you can expect another ridge to start being, becoming more established across the Ohio Valley, getting down towards Texas and the southern plains. And then you got here in the northern edge of that becoming more active here with kind of, the slightly above normal and slightly more favored precipitation across portions of the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and stretching back toward portions of the Rockies. You got that monsoon weather continuing across the Four Corners. And like I said, underneath that ridge, largely for the most part here through the holiday weekend, you're not going to be expecting too much rainfall, kind of just normal rainfall, and then down toward Texas, maybe slightly below normal precipitation, and same thing here across the West Coast. But even looking further here past the holiday weekend here, all the way through Friday, July 8th, here kind of the first week in July, and this ridge will really start to be building more to the north across the plains states here into the northern and central plains, and kind of moving its way up toward the Missouri Valley. Still have a little bit of an active storm track kind of setting up potentially from the northern plains through the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the northeastern during this period. I'll talk about that here in just a moment. And then kind of some cooler weather across the California region, down toward the Four Corners region as well as some shortwave troughs will kind of be spinning around here in those areas on the opposite sides of this trough. And that's where you can expect here some heavier rainfall with that monsoon weather. You got an active period returning for portions of the Pacific Northwest going through that period as well. And like I said, the northern and periphery and northeastern periphery here of this ridge that we'll be building here will become more active towards that first or second week here in July. So that will be something to watch. And just generally here, looking at the next heat wave in store, this is kind of heading into early July here, July 1st and towards the July 2nd period. You can see more 90s starting to build across Texas, Oklahoma, getting up toward portions of Arkansas and Louisiana. And this will really start to build here as we head in towards that, July 2nd and 3rd period. And then as we head in towards the holiday itself here, we're going to start to see widespread 100-degree heat become potentially here back into play from portions here of Oklahoma down through Texas, widespread 90s all the way up here into portions of the Dakotas, down through Nebraska, Kansas, and even into the western Missouri Valley as well. And this will really kind of stay put all the way through past the July 4th holiday as we head into that following week here, July 6th, 5th, 6th time period, where we have widespread 100s once again for Texas all the way up into Oklahoma, Kansas, and into portions here, Louisiana, Arkansas here as well. And you still got that widespread heat across the Death Valley areas into portions of Arizona, Southern California, and Southern Nevada here as well. And in that zone where we have that, have that ridge starting to build more to the north here across the plains, you almost have to worry about kind of the northern periphery of that as we have the active storm track starting to build in. We have a little bit of instability. This is the climate forecasting systems model I like to look at. Now, this doesn't pinpoint like you're going to have 4,000 joules per kilogram here across portions here of North Dakota during this time. This is kind of just showing trends of what the atmosphere could look like here with kind of that storm track and all that energy that where it kind of could lie kind of during this period. So looking at kind of going into that July 4th and a 5th period, we have some instability growing across the Dakotas potentially, maybe even down here underneath that ridge. into portions of Arkansas, Louisiana. That will most likely across the south be more capped off, as we'll have a capping inversion, but we'll still have to watch that across the northern plains, and then really start to build potentially that instability along the northern periphery of that heat wave as we head toward that 6th and 7th time period, as we'll really start to feed in all that heat and humidity from the south. We got dew points probably rising back into the 70s, maybe even near 80 degrees. We got to remember this, the corn crops and the bean crops across portions here of the Midwest are really starting to mature now here as we're heading into July, and then this will really take shape here as we head towards past that July 4th holiday weekend, getting all the way towards that 7th, 8th period here in July. Now, this could change, but it is showing you kind of a general trajectory here from the northern plains into the upper Midwest and portions of the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. That classic ring of fire pattern could be setting back up as we head toward that period, so we definitely have to watch that. And speaking of that active ring of fire pattern, I did want to bring this back up here, as this is kind of showing the same type of area here where it is kind of climatologically favorable for the frequency of derechos here during the month of July. So through that May, June, and July, and even August period, this is where you can expect a lot of the derechos to kind of occur from portions of Minnesota, Iowa, getting into Wisconsin, ground zero across north central Illinois here, and then getting down toward the Ohio Valley, kind of that classic ring of fire pattern. And that is something to be concerned about, as we do have kind of a more of a high pressure system with that ridge starting to build across the southern U.S. And you have that more progressive flow along the northern periphery of this ridge. You definitely have a stronger jet stream. You have stronger instability in that you could, if you have all the right ingredients come together for those big MCS complexes, or like we call them mesoscale convective systems, that then could turn into derechos as well. And kind of looking back as well, as we're kind of getting closer to this time period, this is kind of favoring with the La Nina this year, a 2011, 2012 type setup during the summer. So I did want to bring this up here, as these are the storm reports in areas affected by the July 10th and 11th, 2011 derecho that started here across portions of Minnesota and the Dakotas, and even across portions here of Nebraska as well, and then traveled all the way through portions of Iowa, Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and affected much of the Chicagoland area, getting all the way down through Fort Wayne, Indiana, portions here of Ohio, all the way through the mid-Atlantic here. And this is, again, the kind of the favorable zone, what we're looking at with that climate forecasting systems model, kind of looking at, hey, that we're going to have some stronger instability kind of up in this area, that, it's climatologically favorable. We do have some analogs starting to show signs of this, so we definitely have to watch this moving in toward that first and second week of July as we head in towards that period. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Also keeping an eye on the tropics here, as we have some active weather across the eastern Pacific basin. We have tropical storm Celia spinning across portions right off the western Mexican coast. This will travel to the west here, steadily being a tropical storm status here all the way through the early portions here of next week, and then dropping off toward a depression here as it enters some cooler waters across this area. Currently here, sustained wind gusts of around 60 to 65 miles per hour, and moving to the west-northwest of 7 miles per hour here as well. So that it was expected to become a hurricane, but I do think it'll be more of a tropical storm as it's kind of moving in towards that the cooler waters into those areas. More of note here for at least the U.S. anyway here, in the short to medium term here, heading in toward the early portion of July. The National Hurricane Center has maintained that 60% chance of a system within the next 5 days developing across the southern Atlantic basin, and this will be pushing towards the Lesser Antilles and the Windward Islands here, and towards the Caribbean here as we head through the next 5 days. So that will be something to watch here. Also here, an area of interest, 20% chance of development with the next 5 days, with the potential for a low to develop across portions right off the Texas and Louisiana coast. We got the warm waters here in the portions of the Gulf, so we'll have to watch that. I'm not thinking that's going to be too big of a deal, but we'd still have to watch that potentially for some development here over the next 5 days, as the National Hurricane Center again puts that at a 20% chance. Kind of looking here at the waves here coming off Africa here, and all the kind of moisture plume in the atmosphere. You can see a lot of moisture kind of in a train, kind of a parade from Africa all the way across the southern Atlantic the southern Atlantic basin getting toward the Caribbean here and towards Central America. You have a plume of moisture extending all the way westward into these areas. A little bit of moisture off the Florida coast. We'll still have to watch that as well. And then here's some moisture here traveling into portions of the Gulf where we could have some of that, 20% chance of that system developing in that next 5 days or so. And looking kind of at like the origin points of June 21st through the 30th, we're still in that time frame. Pretty rare that we have a system developing across portions of the southern Atlantic basin. But it is possible, and I mean, it is rare. It hasn't happened very often, if at all. So this is something we'll have to keep an eye on, as we don't have a lot of climatological support from this, but we'll still have to watch this here with the model tracks. A lot of the times here in the middle and late portions of June, you have all these origin points kind of, off the coast of Mexico, into the Gulf, the Bay of Campeche, portions here of the Western Caribbean, and then kind of along the Carolina and Florida coast is where kind of the origin points here for these storm systems start to develop. But then as you get towards that July 1st, all the way through that July 10th time frame, we start to see more origin points here coming off the, with those waves coming off of Africa, getting into the Caribbean and portions here of the Gulf, and even into the Atlantic as well. We have more origin points starting to develop right off the coast here of Central America and off of Mexico as well, pushing to the west. So that is something to monitor here in the next couple of weeks as we head toward that July, 1st through 10th period. And also to monitor as well, we do have the, 7-day temperature change of the sea surface temperatures warming up considerably across portions here of the Caribbean, getting into the southern, Atlantic basin, even into portions of the Gulf, still warming up here, day by day. We still have a little bit of cooler water here off the coast of off the coast of the Carolinas, rather, into portions of Florida and up into the, the Northeast. But I feel that will start to be warming up here in short order toward July as well. And just looking at the sea surface temperature anomalies right now, very warm waters. We got 80s to near potentially 90-degree temperature waters right off the Louisiana and the Mississippi coast there, and off the coast of Texas, off the coast there of Florida, into portions there of Georgia, and into Alabama there. You got a lot of warm waters, some warm waters back into portions of the Caribbean as well. So that is definitely something to watch. So thank you for watching, everybody. Be sure to like my video, give me a thumbs up, and leave any comments, questions below. I'll be able to answer those as soon as I possibly can. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, as my goal is to hit 200 subscribers by the end of June. So please help me out. I do appreciate that very much. And I definitely look forward to another live stream for severe weather coverage and or tropical storm status coverage here with these systems starting to get closer towards the U.S. as well, to keep you ahead of all of the storms and ahead of all of the, all the danger out there as well. So everybody stay safe on your weekend, and I hope everybody has a great Saturday out there.